3 minutes used to feel small, safe, manageable. But some nights, 3 minutes don't feel like enough, especially when you're tired, especially when life asks for more than you planned to give. Ray learned how to show up when it was easy to stop. Now he's about to learn something harder. What happens when staying costs more than you expected? The routine holds for a while. 3 minutes every night, no matter how late Ray gets home, no matter how tired he feels, until the nights get heavier. The warehouse adds overtime, boxers stack higher. His back starts hurting again. Some evenings, his daughter falls asleep before he even takes off his shoes. The timer stays untouched on the table. Ray stands there, listening to her breathing, telling himself it's fine. Just tonight. But just tonight, as a familiar sound. Then come the mornings, when she wakes up sick. The kind of sick that doesn't look serious, but serious enough to change everything. Doctor visits, missed hours, bills that don't care about good intentions. One night, Ray sits alone in the kitchen. The paper that says 3 minutes is still taped to his backpack, worn at the edges now. He doesn't rip it off. He doesn't look at it either. He tells himself something he said before. I've earned a break, and for the first time since the promise quietly began, he wonders if stopping might be easier than explaining why he can't keep going. Because this time, quitting wouldn't just disappoint him, it would be noticed. That night, Ray decides not to wake her. She's already asleep on the couch, curled up with a blanket that's too small. The timer sits on the table, face down. Ray turns off the kitchen light, one step away from letting the night end quietly. Then he hears her voice. Daddy. He freezes. She's not fully awake, just enough to look at him with heavy eyes. He waits for a question, for disappointment. Instead, she says one thing. Are we still doing 3 minutes tonight? Or should I count tomorrow? That's it. No guilt, no pressure, no lesson, just a choice placed gently in his hands. Ray sits down on the floor beside the couch. Tonight's okay, he says. Let's do it now. She flips the timer over and presses the button. It starts ticking. They don't move much. She leans against his shoulder. 3 minutes pass. When the timer beeps, she doesn't say anything. She just squeezes his hand once and falls back asleep. Ray stays there, sitting on the floor, realizing that stopping now wouldn't be rest. It would be leaving. Nothing dramatic happens after that night. No breakthrough. No sudden clarity. Just something quiet that Ray can't ignore anymore. The next evening, before the timer even comes out, his daughter drags the laundry basket toward the door. Come on, she says. It's almost time. Ray follows her down the hallway, past the same peeling paint, the same flickering light above the laundry room door. As the machines start up, she climbs onto the plastic chair like always. But instead of pulling out the timer, she looks at him. You know, she says, I don't really care what we do. Ray waits. I just like that you stay. That's all. No speech, no meaning attached to it. She swings her legs, already distracted by the sound of the dryer. But something inside Ray finally settles. He realizes that 3 minutes were never about fixing his life. They were never about progress or habits or becoming someone better. They were about presence, about not leaving, even when leaving would have been easier, quieter, and completely understandable. Ray understands then that what keeps him showing up isn't discipline. It's not motivation either. It's the simple fact that someone has learned how to look for him and would notice if he wasn't there. And for the first time in years, that doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like permission to stay. Life doesn't slow down for Ray. The warehouse is still loud. The shifts are still long. Some weeks, the numbers in his bank app still make his stomach tighten. There are nights when 3 minutes stretch him thin. Nights when he sits down only because standing feels harder. But something has changed in the way he moves through it. When he comes home late, he doesn't rush to disappear into his phone. He sits. Sometimes he helps with homework. Sometimes they fold one towel. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Exactly 3 minutes. And then without announcing it, without promising anything, he often stays a little longer. Not every night, not perfectly, but enough to matter. Ray notices the shift first in small places. He finishes things he used to abandon. A forum, a call he's been avoiding, a test at work that no one else wants. Not because he feels confident, but because leaving halfway through no longer feels like an option he reaches for automatically. He still doubts himself, still gets tired, still has days where he wants to stop, but quitting no longer feels invisible. And staying, even in small, unremarkable ways, starts to feel like who he is becoming. Not a man who finally figured everything out, just a man who doesn't walk away when someone is quietly counting on him. Ray never becomes a different person. He becomes a steadier one. He learned something most people don't notice until much later in life. Some days, motivation won't show up. Some days, discipline will feel like too big a word. But presence, staying, even briefly, is something you can choose. Not for hours, not forever, just long enough to let someone feel that you didn't disappear. If there's one thing to take from this story, it's not a rule. It's a question. Who might be quietly counting on you, even if they never say it out loud. Tonight, choose one simple thing. Set a timer for 3 minutes. Do it where someone can see you staying. When the timer ends, you're allowed to stop. Anything more than that is a gift. If this story felt close to home, you don't need to explain it. You can share it, or leave a comment with just one word that describes how it made you feel. That's enough. And if you stay a little longer, the next story begins after a wildfire. A man stands where his house used to be. No walls, no roof, just ash and silence. He thinks losing his home is the end. What he doesn't see, yet, is that something else is about to begin. What happens next will change the way he understands loss and what it really means to stay.